Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Amen. Please be seated. I wonder if any of you like to show photos from your travels. Do you like to do that? Well, last November, I went to Israel for the first time and took zillions of photos on my iPhone. It was just so easy, right? So I promise you this is a sermon this morning and not a travel blog, but I would love to share my story and a few pics with you. So once I got home from Israel and recovered from the COVID that I apparently had picked up at the end of the trip, people asked me, so how was the trip? How did it change you? And all I could think to say was that it made me saltier, and that helped my light. Now that drew some odd looks, right? Few knew what I was talking about, and I wasn't even sure that I knew what I was talking about. It took me some time to explain it. So may I try with you? Okay. So, it is from this hillside along the Sea of Galilee that Jesus preached the Beatitudes and the words, "You are the salt of the earth, you are the light of the world." So to be there and to be immersed in this land changed how I interact with the scriptures. So I became part of the story when I picked and held mustard seeds in my hand and remembered the parable where Jesus said that the smallest of seeds becomes a tree where all the birds of the air can make their home. I touched the headwaters of the Jordan at Tel Dan, where the psalmist wrote, "As a deer longs for the flowing streams, I long for you, O God. My soul thirsts for God, the living God." And I walked the barren road from Jerusalem to Jericho, just a little part, that Jesus used in the parable when someone asked, "Who's my neighbor?" So I have hundreds of photos, and I could go on all day with great passion. But I want to share about my experience, and that is that salt refreshes and preserves, and light expands. So being physically immersed in the stories of the Bible refreshed me in a way that felt permanent, like it was cured with a new light. And I just don't think it's any coincidence that I came home from that trip, recovered from COVID, celebrated Thanksgiving, and then found your rector search on the Episcopal News Service website. It appeared my light was expanding all the way to Poway. So I'm not done sharing. There's one more photo in this semi-travel blog sermon, and it's the setting for today's gospel. So I gasped at an area now called Bacas, then known as Caesarea Philippi. It's in the Golan Heights. Now, there's a lot going on at this site, but what is impossible to miss? Solid rock, right? Jesus took Simon to a place where he would be immersed in the meaning of the nickname that Jesus gave him. Petros in Greek, Kepha in Aramaic, which in Greek is Cephas. You've heard these names before. The apostle that we call Peter. It all means rock. And this setting speaks to Peter of his name and of his call. There was no avoiding what Jesus meant. It was all around him. So when Peter declared that Jesus is the Messiah, the Son of the living God, Jesus commissions his faith as the rock on which Jesus will build his church. So on this weekend, when we remember our patron saint, Bartholomew the Apostle, alongside Peter, I ask you, what is God surrounding us with so that we don't miss the meaning of our calling? What is there no avoiding? And I want you to know that I'm learning right alongside you. So to help us along, this fall we are going to resume our adult forums with our ministry leads helping us to remember what God surrounds us with here at St. Bart's. We'll have forums on creation care, local and global outreach, Christian education, fellowship, lay ministries, prayer, and pastoral care. And then in Advent, we'll turn inward with spiritual practices. So on September 10th, I invite you to grab some coffee and come into the multipurpose room starting at 9 a.m. And as you participate through these various Sundays, ask yourself, does this bring a salt that refreshes me? And what is Jesus calling me to be the rock of? But as you do this, remember that God is not calling all of us to be Peters. Bartholomew himself is a relatively obscure apostle. He's been called the quiet alternative to the more visible and vocal apostles, yet he too was called. So what we do doesn't have to be a huge undertaking to be impactful, and it doesn't have to be far away. It can be as simple as taking 2 steps, turning to your neighbor, and joyfully greeting them with the peace of Christ that we'll do this morning. Paul tells us today that we have gifts that differ according to the diversity of grace given to us. And Evelyn Underhill was a Christian mystic, and she said, "We Christians are called upon to make our lives, gestures, words, and small acts to be vehicles of grace and doorways for new ways of seeing the world." So it's not what you do, it's from where you do it. That rock of faith that Peter proclaimed is also in us. And when we act from our faith, God takes care of ensuring that it is good. So back to Bacas. Yes, there is a lot of rock there, but there's also flowing water from a spring inside all that rock. That Bacas River is a headwater that joins the headwater from the Dan River that we saw earlier. And together they feed the Jordan and the Sea of Galilee. So my prayer on this St. Bart's Day is that from all our diverse sources, our church can be not just a vehicle of grace, but a river of grace that feeds each other and all that God surrounds us with. It starts with faith as small as a mustard seed, a thirst for God, seeing anyone in need as your neighbor, keeping up your salt intake so you stay refreshed, and being that light where we show one another a new way of seeing the world through Jesus Christ. Amen.